Well, fresh from watching Vincent Kompany blasting the ball into Kasper Scheichel's top corner, Liverpool are at Anfield this evening with Barcelona, who are looking to book their place in the final stress-free. Kenny Cunningham joins us in studio all evening. We have Graham Hunter to preview the game as well. Meanwhile, Pat Nevin on the football show. The 2019 Hurling Championship gets underway this weekend. We're putting the band back together, Dahi and Jamesy, after 8 o'clock. And we'll have Eric Donovan talking Alvarez Jacobs. 53106, the text number. We are at Off the Ball on Twitter. Richie McCormack here in studio, hello.
Hello, Joe.
And you can imagine it, listeners, last night, Kenny Cunningham watching on as Vincent Kompany, part of the Centre Halves Union, strode up. Don't shoot, said Kenny, like everyone else. Don't you dare shoot.
No, Centre Halves Union, I certainly wasn't saying that, but I could understand the sentiment all right from the teammates around them.
Did you see Aguero running up to him at full time saying, I told you, Vinny, no shooting.
That's hilarious.
What the hell was that?
It's more Chinese than South America.
Either way, it's pretty insensitive, Joe.
No, it was amazing. It was a magical moment. It really was. It was one of those, ball hit the net. You literally took a second to register what he'd actually done.
Didn't it take a minute to realise it was in? There was something funny about the TV angle.
Yeah.
I thought
Because you weren't expecting him to come out with something like that, and B, it moved so fast.
It was
like the whip he got on that ball was absolutely incredible.
I thought for a second it got caught up in the stanchion
Up behind
I thought there was something funny.
Yeah, I know what you mean, all right. You did have that sensation, all right, but it was amazing. I mean, it was 11. He's had 36 shots outside the penalty box during this. All these stats get rolled out, don't they? Hadn't scored for many, like a goal outside the box, but fair play to him taking that kind of responsibility on, because I think he even said afterwards he could verbally hear the players screaming at him, "Oh no, Vincent, no!" So that's not easy. I mean, he spoke about, I was going to shout, but that's mentally strong there to be able to kind of bat that away.
He said, I could really hear it. It was annoying me. Everyone was saying, don't shoot, don't shoot. And I thought, hold on a second. I've not come this far in my career for young players to tell me whether I can take a shot or not.
All right, I don't think he was processing all that
I think you're right.
Before he kicks it.
But I think what it was that kind of feeling of getting a bit irked hearing that, and since that those sense say, hold on, no, I'm going to take this shot on.
It's the period of the game where they bloody well needed something, though. It needed something like that for them to actually break it up.
And it was the only time in the game, probably the first moments in the game, where Leicester hadn't got any pressure on any Manchester City player in that area of the pitch. Chowdhury, who played that inside left position for the whole night, was fantastic.
By the way, he was amazing. 21 years of age, Chowdhury. Really, really good.
Yeah, you got some outstanding young players there. But anytime anybody got within about 25, 30 yards of the goal in that area of the pitch up until then, he was out. He sprung out at them, whether it was Foden first half or Bernardo Silva second half. He got there quickly in their face, rushed the pass and made them pass sideways or back. It was the first time he hesitated. And there's a great view behind the goal of him and Ndidi and Chilwell's there as well. And just, you could throw a blanket over the three of them. They're just that little bit of indecision in terms
of
whose responsibility is it to go and press, and just that split second, that moment was enough for him to take that extra touch, steady himself and get the shot off. It was amazing small margins, as they say, but brilliant goal.
And it would have been, as Richie was saying, it was getting to a moment where things were getting quite tense, and if he sliced that one high and wide, and Leicester would have taken their time with the kick out, there would have been a real sense of they've resorted to this, they're really feeling the pressure, they're running out of ideas.
And you just felt this little bit Leicester responded to that. There'd been a breakaway from Harry Maguire, maybe just prior to that, and he's a little mazy run down the left-hand side. He'd squared it into James Maddison. I was expecting to do better. He's brilliant. But that was a dead ball, free kick. He put it in the top corner.
But he should have passed out wide.
He could have passed wide, but he's so good in that position. Again, you're talking about young players like Chowdhury, 21 years of age. Maddison in that position, normally you'd be thinking, just get rid of it, pass responsibility. He didn't. He really fancied himself, just didn't quite make the kind of connect. I thought he was going to give him the eyes and actually wrap it into the other side. But when I saw that, again, you sensed that bit of intake of breath, and I just felt, is this game on the tour now a little bit? Leicester growing in confidence, offering more of a threat. At that point, I was thinking, getting the sense of they're going to go win this now.
Yeah.
They're actually going to, they're going to go and grab a goal now and actually see them off.
Harry Maguire,
was that close?
I know, it really was. Leicester really good. And we're into that very interesting part of the season now where even teams with nothing to play for, when they're playing against a Liverpool or a Man City, they know they're on TV and everyone's watching, so they're up for it.
Yeah.
Harry Maguire passed the test where someone does something amazing and then they always lose the head and try and do something else amazing and make a mess of it. Harry Maguire reached the end of his line and then just passed the ball inside. It was brilliant.
he's probably the best at that in terms of centre half services, travelling into midfield and actually being effective once you get into midfield area of the pitch and being incisive with your passes. There's probably nobody better than him. In all honesty, he always makes the right decision when he gets in. He doesn't get flustered at all. I think remember somebody told me saying he played some years as a centre midfield player.
He's
clearly very comfortable. He's such a big lad. He's like a honey monster. So another big shoulders. You think he's no business being in that congested area.
Slab head, of course. Slab head.
But he's very comfortable in there. And then even when Manchester City scored, I thought, this isn't over. I mean, this is going to be
Iheanacho.
I just said it to Rich there. I'm not being funny, right? When he hit that shot, we're talking about Kompany having the old double take. Has that gone in? When he hit that shot off his strongest left foot under no pressure in the central area, could see the ball coming, beautiful pace in the ball from your man Chowdhury. No recovering defenders, and Zinchenko's a little bit high up the pitch. When he hit that shot and miscued it as much as he did, it's one of those few moments I looked at and thought, that's not right.
Yeah.
You can't seriously miss the goal by that amount on your favoured left foot. I must admit, that was my first gut reaction was, oh, that ain't right.
Yeah. Just saying to Kenny, if he's a defender, it looks like he's putting a nonchalant clearance out for a corner.
Yeah.
That's
exactly
horrible.
It was unbelievable.
It was just waiting for him to wrap it inside of his left foot, sweep. I'm not saying it's a guaranteed goal.
Get on
but
target.
at least put a bit of shape into that far corner and give yourself a chance.
You could put it either way. That was it. Yeah, you could put it either way from that position.
Yeah,
it was a sign as well of how process-driven Pep Guardiola is. That most managers would have just puffed out the cheeks and smiled and say we got away with it. Where Guardiola's like, whoa, what happened? He's dragging Arteta down and he's saying we need to figure. He's like pointing as if to say what happened there. It can't happen again. He just couldn't even just enjoy that moment.
No.
He needed a full inquisition.
But they just couldn't get into those areas often enough during the course of 90 minutes. I thought Leicester played reasonably well. They played some good football, but mostly in their own half of the pitch. I would have liked to see them go back to front a little bit earlier and get Vardy involved in the game a little bit higher up the pitch. Plenty of good little triangles from centre half to full back into midfield.
The makings of a half-decent team next season.
Oh, absolutely.
If they recruit well in the summer, if they manage to hang on to someone like Tielemans, who's been brilliant since he got to Monaco, then they could be okay.
Yeah, he was good. Carragher was saying as well that they were just too quick to go back to the keeper whenever they did kind of get up into the City half.
Yeah, they could have beat that force press, and when they needed that next man to open up and play that incisive pass forward, you're right, it went sideways or it went back a little bit too safe. It was a shame.
It was. So we'll talk more about that game in a few moments, but Liverpool team news is in, Rich.
Yeah, Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp concedes his side might fail in the most beautiful way tonight. They trail Barcelona by 3-0 going into the second leg of their Champions League semi-final at Anfield. The teams are in Liverpool line out with Alisson in goal, a back four then of Trent Alexander-Arnold, Joel Matip, Virgil van Dijk and Andy Robertson. In midfield, the trio of Fabinho, James Milner and Jordan Henderson, with up front, in the absence of Mo Salah and Roberto Firmino, Sadio Mane, Xherdan Shaqiri and the goal scorer from last Saturday, Divock Origi. Ryan Brewster and Ben Woodburn are among those on the bench. There's no room for Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain in the matchday squad. He's been withheld due to a precaution, a slight muscle strain, as the recovering England midfielder. For Barca, Marc-Andre ter Stegen starts in goal. A back four then of Sergio Roberto, Gerard Piqué, Clement Longley and Jordi Alba. In midfield, it's Sergio Busquets, Arturo Vidal, Ivan Rakitic and Philippe Coutinho, with Lionel Messi and Luis Suarez leading the line. Kick-off at what is sure to be a raucous Anfield is at 8 o'clock tonight.
Yeah, it's just a tricky night for Liverpool in so many ways. Barcelona rested their entire 11 from the first leg at the weekend. They lost 2-0 against Celta Vigo. Meanwhile, Liverpool are fighting it out away to Newcastle and spending lots of energy. And there's the 3-0 gap. It's a weird. What do you think the mood will be? Just go out and win the game and score a few goals and have a lash, or do you have to be a bit more careful?
Yeah, but I thought he struck the mood reasonably well. The comments attributed to Klopp over the last couple of days, not exerting any type of pressure on his players whatsoever, saying, look, we want to go and win the game, and if we do lose, not refusing to talk about the fact they could lose the tie. Yeah, we may well lose the tie, but it's how we lose which is important type thing. So kind of taking the pressure off his players somewhat, just almost like a get out with jail card, get out there.
It might be a red herring, but he mentioned twice in his press conference yesterday about the fact that, he was asked, do you need a bright start? Do you need to go hell for leather in the first 5 minutes? And he was like, no. We scored these 3 in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, so much. Yeah, that classic cliche. They got to get an early goal. You don't need to get an early goal. If you get a goal the first minute of the second half, 1-0, follow that with a second goal, 75 minutes in, 2-0. It's game on.
Because you still have to defend anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. So there has to. You're right, Joe. In terms there has to be a certain amount of defensive organisation. I'm still a bit surprised. I'm looking at Joe Gomez on the bench there. You know, I'd still like to see him alongside Van Dijk, particularly if you're going to have to throw them full-backs high up the pitch and take risks as the game goes on. You're going to have to defend basically maybe 1v1 on occasion for large majorities of this game. And Gomez, for me, is alongside Van Dijk, is probably the two best defenders, particularly in 1v1 situations. That's only a small thing. Look, Matty's been playing well recently. I understand he's kind of stick and winning, but personally, I'd like to see Gomez in there. But I just hope we see a nice little cavalier approach in Liverpool tonight, energised by the crowd. I'm sure the atmosphere will be amazing. I'm sure the players will respond to it. Yeah, and if they are going to go out with a bang type thing in terms of a real kind of performance, really stretch this Barcelona team and ask them a few questions and put the frighteners on them. In all probability, it's not going to be enough.
No.
But I would agree with him, Klopp, in terms sometimes it's how you lose. It's important as well.
Well, it was the greatest 3-0 loss maybe of all time in the first leg. They were brilliant. They were great. Yeah,
no, you're right, from box to box they were. Yeah, just in both boxes, defensively, obviously in terms of the goals, and not clinical as you spoke about, but in terms of their general play, you're absolutely right.
And some little guy, Kenny, we'll talk about him. Number 10 for Barcelona, good player. Kieran Boyle on Twitter, fair play to Richie. Minnesota Vikings retro t-shirt, a nice touch, reckons Kieran.
Hashtag nice touch.
Meanwhile,
I'm no Met Ball attendee.
Controversial view from Eddie. Lads, that goal last night was basically a fluke. It's not like a striker aiming for a top corner. It's just a Hail Mary. Don't confuse drama with quality.
Granted, it wasn't Ian Morris's goal for Bowes last year. It was away to Bray from a similar distance when he pinged one in from about 35 yards.
Dinny says, Shell's manager and ex-Bowes centre-half Ian Morris would have been proud of that Vincent Kompany strike last night, and that's coming from a Cork City fan. There is an element of Hail Mary about Kompany's shot. Of course there is. I mean, he's bashing it and he's cutting across it. He doesn't know how much he's going to swerve. There's an element of, let's see what happens here.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not even exactly sure he's actually cutting across the ball. It's intent to actually cut across the ball and get that type of movement on the ball. But then I'd argue, say he's centre forward taking on that responsibility, a natural goal scorer 30 yards out. Yes, he's looking to hit the target and he may actually be aiming for a certain side of the goal, but you can't tell me players attack-minded players are aiming for the postage stamp or whatever. You know what I mean? Just going to make a good contact with the ball and put it in the direction of the goal you feel as if he can score. So, I understand the argument, but I think that's a general argument for most people who take on a shot from that distance. You're just looking for a good technique, hit the target, test the goalkeeper, all those type of things.
Did you take many pot shots from that range?
No, that's tragically no. I never. I don't remember one.
Not a tragedy.
I can't even remember you having a shot.
I can.
It's not a tragedy.
Honest to God,
football has survived.
It's not a tragedy. No, it's not.
It's a personal tragedy.
No, I can.
Kenny, don't you dare shoot.
I never remember in that position dribbling up from the hat. Like I said, getting. Well, no, you know that kind of halfway line you dribble, suddenly you find yourself 5 yards outside the penalty box, and then it would have been so that's why I give Kompany a bit of credit. He's getting all the variables from his, what are you passing, those you. So for me it's like, you crumble, you play 5 yards, a safe pass left or right, you just kind of get rid of it. I mean, that would be my natural reaction. So to have the kind of confidence, and he isn't a particularly great striker, the ball to say, no, I'm taking responsibility anyway, to hell with you.
Yeah.
Fair, strength of character, whatever you want to call it.
Where are we going next, Rich?
To Munster, they've been dealt a double blow with the news that both Jerry Flannery and Felix Jones have rejected new contracts with the province. Flannery says he's leaving a dream job after 5 years on the coaching staff, while Jones says they remain fully committed to landing this year's Pro 14 title. Former hooker Flannery joined what was Anthony Foley's coaching staff in 2014, with attack coach Jones coming on board in 2016. Both will leave at the end of the season, with head coach Johan van Graan saying he's very disappointed to see them go.
I hadn't seen this. I had the head down all day. I didn't see this news. What's the word here? Felix Jones not loving the fact a new attack coach has been brought in, I would presume.
Quite possibly. There's talk that Rob Howley is on the verge of coming in. There's talk that perhaps they saw one potentially leaving this summer, but not both Jones and Flannery heading out the door.
Yeah.
There seems to be a bit of a fissure developing, or well, there was anyway towards the end of last season, or this season, what still is, in the coaching staff at Munster, and this is cracked open.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, if Jerry Flannery has any interest in a punditry career, he will be amazing, because his little coach interviews 20 minutes into a game are better than the previous 20 minutes of analysis generally. Well, that's very interesting news. We'll dig in and find a bit more out about that on Wednesday Night Rugby tomorrow. So Jerry Flannery gone, as is Felix Jones at the end of the season. Ron O'Gara was on this morning.
Yeah, sticking with Munster, and O'Gara says they should let Craig Casey leave the province if he so wishes to. The Irish Independent claiming this morning that the scrum half is subject of a report regarding a potential move to Leinster next season. Munster appear to have depth in that area, with Conor Murray backed up by Albie Mathewson again next term. And O'Gara told this morning's OTBAM that if Casey wants to go, he should go.
If it makes the papers, usually it's a bit down the road, as Owen said. So interesting developments. I think that's Munster can't let that happen. I think it's really important that the best young players are kept in the province. And I don't think anything related to Joey Carey. This is a guy who had never come out of an underage campaign, and so much is in front of him. But the question is, I have to ask is, how many what jersey does he want to wear? It could mean an awful lot to him. You would hope if he wants to play for Munster, but if he has indecision about blue or red jersey, then Munster might be better off letting him go if that's the way he's thinking.
Yeah, that clip from this morning's OTBAM, our sports breakfast show that's on every morning from 7:45am. You'll find it on offtheball.com, YouTube, Twitter and Facebook, and you can start your day with Off the Ball. Most importantly, you can see our social channels for full broadcast details for more.
Lads, Brendan Rodgers has to get a lot of credit. Great job he's doing so far. Honestly, it looks like another Klopp outcome this year, both domestically and internationally. Always a bridesmaid, never a bride. The commentators last night said that Kompany had 27 shots from outside the box in his whole career, and that was the first ever goal from outside the box with a shot.
Not true.
Not true.
There was one Norwegian TV, the crowd that, I think it was VGR, the crowd that Jan Åge Fjørtoft works for. Showed him.
Played in Germany, when he was playing in Germany.
For Hamburg against Brandbergen. There you go.
It was quite some time ago.
Give me hope, Kenny. Is there any way City dropped points in the last day, says G. Straw clutching?
Yeah, I think there is. Look, I've gone on record as saying I thought Liverpool would win it. I couldn't see them losing any games, and they haven't. And I thought City would slip, and a very small slip in terms of, I thought they'd leak points to draw somewhere. That run of games they've had the last kind of month. Yeah. So huge credit to Manchester City.
Wins in a row.
Yeah, amazing. But I tell you what, again, I can't let it go. I watched a bit of the Brighton performance against Arsenal at the weekend.
Granted, it was Arsenal and Arsenal were poor. I want to put that
but also factoring again, Rich, the fact they were safe. They knew going onto the pitch, Brighton, they were safe. All that pent up, frustration, the whole pressurised, cauldron, that was all released. And what type of reaction was it? Did they kind of take their foot off and then go through the motions? No, they put in a really spirited performance and really came on strong in that second half. And we know the type of team they are. They can sit in there, they can soak up pressure. Duffy and Dunk at centre half, they gobble up. Yeah, they gobble. They absolutely love it. But they actually did offer a good threat on the counter-attack, Brighton, which I've seen them sit in for 90 minutes and offer nothing going forward. Yeah. But against Arsenal, and Donny came on, they showed a little bit in terms of counter-attack. So
there's hope. Kenny says there's hope.
I think there is hope. Yeah, if Chris can tap into that, and the players themselves, the same thing as the Leicester players, huge amount of media profile around the game. The Brighton players now, one good performance here, we could be on the back pages. You know what I mean? The story could all be about us taking the title away from Manchester City. I mean, that's...
I think Liverpool will probably get the back pages the next day if that happens, Kenny.
Oh, no, but they will.
Liverpool might get the back
Brighton
pages.
Would be a huge... But I think there's a professional pride there. There's something inside you. I always felt it in terms of even Manchester City coming to Brighton and celebrating on your turf, whether it's a title or avoiding relegation, whatever it is, and the opposing team coming and enjoying themselves, the old arms going up, lap of honour, enjoying... That sticks in the gut a little bit, and that kind of focuses the mind a bit.
I was in Brighton at the weekend on a stag. Just if we're talking Brighton, I just can't not mention that.
Oh, is that it? Is that a link?
That's all I've got to say about it.
Oh, right.
I heard we were talking about Brighton. I just got thinking. Have you ever been?
Nice
town. Any Brighton players out by any chance? Did you?
They were away.
Shane around. Oh, right, good.
They were away from home. Yeah, we would have went along to the Amex course.
It's out of town, I think, a little bit.
Yeah, it was about 25 minutes out, so I didn't see that. Saw the pier.
It's a party town. A lot of the opposition down Millwall used to go down there. All the fans used to dress up, head down there for the game down in Brighton. They're kind of a party town and kind of get into it. Yeah.
It's good.
Saw you the mods and rockers.
It's very steep town.
As in you're heading downhill towards the beach.
Massive incline. Yeah. Massive incline.
Good for the old calves, Joe.
Bloody wasn't. Where are you? We're in this one. Oh no.
Trudging back.
Beach weather?
Not a trudging. No, there wasn't beach weather, Kenny. No. Lads, have you come across the Liverpool fan who rang TalkSport demanding that the Premier League present Liverpool with the trophy for finishing second? I did hear this, yeah. We've got more points than Sir Alex ever got was one of his reasons. Graham Monopoly. But then I think it was Andy Goldstein was like, but what would you call the trophy? He's like, the Premier League. And then it's like, it doesn't need a name, just give him a trophy. Though there's suspicion it's a wind up. Yeah. And then finally, highlights. Anyone watching the Diamond League in Doha? I haven't seen any on Friday. May have had a glimpse into how Qatar plan to deal with the crazy summer temperatures for the World Cup. They have these huge fans built into the edge of the track at ground level all across the stadium. Looks rather odd, says Mike. There we are. I don't know what they're doing for the World Cup, but they have definitely said in the last few months that the outdoor air conditioning does work. One
of the stadiums that they've recently finished does have working air conditioning for the whole stadium. So
I mean, I don't know how, but there you go. Now, Pat Smullen, who actually was on the show just last week.
Yeah, he says he's retiring and putting his health and family first. The 9-time Irish flat champion jockey is calling time on a career that brought him the Epsom and the Irish Derby among 12 classic wins, but he recently completed treatment for pancreatic cancer and he's deciding to retire on medical grounds. But Smullen's told Midlands that he leaves the sport with no regrets.
You know, I'd like to have won an arc at the Triumph if that was possible, and you know, it would have been nice to get a 10th Jockeys Championship and get it into double figures. But they're the things that you might have liked to have achieved in the future. But I'm quite happy that I've had a very full career, and I'm very thankful for that. And so now it's time to move on. I've always been a person of looking forward and not back, and that's the case again here.
Wish him well. He was an absolute gent when we went down last week and gave us loads of time. The interview got a great reaction. It's at offtheball.com /podcast, or you can watch the whole video. 41 years of age, still very much in his prime, 9-time champion jockey and building up for another season when the illness struck last year. But when he talks there about living a full life, he's not joking. The amount of brilliant pictures all over his house. I don't know if you go in for that, Kenny, around the house, but he's got all these great pictures. And even before the interview, I was in the toilet and there's a framed kind of sheet of paper and it's a handwritten letter from Bono when they were at Nace Racecourse in 03, and I was asking him about it and he was like, oh yeah, that was a great day. Al Pacino was there as well, of course, and Jim Sheridan. I was like, what, in Nace? He's like, yeah, it was a great day.
What were they shooting there? Some film, obviously, some collaboration, Jim Sheridan and Al Pacino?
I think it might have just been Bono, Al Pacino and Jim Sheridan hanging out. Wow. Jim Sheridan owns a few horses, that was the initial.
Right, gotcha.
But I think Bono and Al Pacino were just hanging around Nace.
As you do.
We wish Pat Smullen well, obviously. Now, Mick McCarthy.
Yeah, he says he wasn't surprised by Mark Travers' superb Bournemouth debut at the weekend. The teenage goalkeeper has been included in McCarthy's 30-man training squad that'll gather in Portugal later this month. Alan Brown, Callum Robinson and Shane Long all return after missing the recent Euro 2020 qualifiers through injury. There's another call-up for Shamrock Rovers midfielder Jack Byrne, but no room for James McCarthy or Willem Twy's Dan Crowley. But McCarthy says Travers has the perfect temperament for the step he's just taken.
It is understanding his personality as well, how he handled being in the first team squad when he came. He was very calm about it, very mature for a 19-year-old young man. Really calm individual, trained that way, didn't get flustered. Listened to everything that was said to him, but certainly by Alan Kelly, and Alan Kelly thought he was excellent. So it wasn't a surprise to me that he handled it. And yeah, youngsters can get flustered. The problem is when it doesn't go well, and you're a youngster, how do you come back from that one? If you're a bit older, more mature, it's probably happened to you, and you'll come back. But listen, you can only applaud him on his first game. He was brilliant.
Did you see any Mark Travers?
Yeah, I did. I worked with Mark briefly with the under 19s. He wasn't over at Bournemouth that long, to be honest with you, but great physical specimen. Funnily enough, in that squad, we two outstanding keepers. Caoimhin Kelleher's up at Liverpool, is actually in the 21s at the moment. And Caoimhin was ahead of Mark at the time. And Caoimhin's an outstanding goalkeeper as well. The both of them physically 6'3", broad-shouldered. Obviously had a little bit of growing to do, but from a technical point of view, I'm not an expert in terms of a goalkeeping coach, but fantastic ability. And if they keep developing the way they are, both of them, Caoimhin obviously would be one at Liverpool. You'd wonder, he's got to get games under his belt. Marcus made the step up at Bournemouth, may get an opportunity there to develop in terms of the first team. Looking at Caoimhin at Liverpool, that route isn't going to be as easy for him. He may have to take a sideways step or even a backwards one in terms of getting those games under his belt. But two young goalkeepers who potentially could, over the next 15 years, could be around for a long time, and a really outstanding ability. Kind of prototype modern goalkeepers. In terms of like physically how they're made, and even temperament wise as well. a lot of good things I saw the short period of time I was with them both, and Mark's getting a lot of headlines at the moment, and rightly so, and good luck to him, delighted for him. But Queven's another one who shouldn't be forgotten either, another outstanding keeper we have.
Bit of a blow for Tipperary.
Yeah, ahead of the Munster Hurling Championship, which gets underway this weekend, All-Ireland winning defender Michael Cahill has undergone surgery on a broken kneecap following a collision with a third of Sarsfield's teammate in training. Cahill had only been on the comeback trail following surgery to a cruciate knee ligament injury, which happened last year.
Ouch.
Oh.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Ouch. A few people, by the way, tweeting in about the Man City fans walking out of the stadium as Vincent Kompany hit that shot.
No.
Yep.
Walking out.
Well, they weren't. There was probably
walking up for a refill or walking out.
That's what I mean.
Oh, right, yeah. I thought you meant literally walking out of the stadium. Like,
but even still.
70 minutes. Can you not sit
Hold
there
it.
a minute? Wait for the breakthrough. Game's a bit tense. They might need you.
You've had about 10 points before you've walked into the stadium. I know. Easier said than done, I suppose.
I don't know.
Some people need it, like the tension, need to get away, don't they? Need to disappear for a minute or two, just kind of
I think your man was just ambling out of the stadium a bit bored. We usually win these 4-0, he was thinking to himself.
Normal circumstances, that ball should have hit him on the back of the head as he was walking out.
Yeah. So, Paddy Jackson.
Yeah, he's on the move again. He says he's delighted to be joining London Irish at such an exciting time for the side. The Exiles have just won promotion back to the English Premiership under former Ireland coaches Declan Kidney and Les Kiss. Jackson leaves Perpignan following their relegation from the top Coutures in France, having joined when he had his Ulster contract revoked last April. Israel Folau has been found guilty of a high-level breach of Rugby Australia's Players' Code of Conduct for his homophobic social media posts. A 3-person panel will now decide what punishment he'll face. It's already been indicated that his contract will be terminated. While Tottenham's Jan Vertonghen is fit for their Champions League semi-final second leg against Ajax tomorrow night, the defender suffered a head injury in a collision with teammate Toby Alderweireld during the first leg in London last week. Manager Mauricio Pochettino says this evening that Vertonghen may play in a protective mask as Spurs look to overturn the 1-goal deficit from last week. And another recent guest of the show, Eric Donovan, is to fight outside of Ireland for the first time as a professional next month. The unbeaten Kildare featherweight will have his 10th professional fight at the iconic York Hall in London on a night dubbed the Irish Invasion. That's on Saturday, June 22nd. Donovan's opponent is due to be confirmed in the coming days. While sticking with boxing, the WBC have accepted even Vasyl Lomachenko's petition to fight for its vacant lightweight title. They've ordered a bout between the unbeaten Ukrainian and the number one contender for that belt, Luke Campbell. Campbell's been made the mandatory challenger after a bout with former champion Mikey Garcia couldn't be made. Lomachenko is already the WBA Super and WBO title holder. And news of cycling with the Giro d'Italia getting underway on Saturday. Ireland's Eddie Dunbar has been included in the Team Ineos squad for that race. The former Team Aqua Blue rider replaces Egan Bernal, who suffered a broken collarbone last week in training. Dunbar placed third in the Tour de Yorkshire on Sunday, following close on the heels of a 7th-place finish in the Tour La Provence. He's clearly well thought of by Dave Brailsford, and this year's Giro getting underway with an individual time trial around the streets of Bologna.
Okay, cheers, Rich. We'll leave it there. That's your news round for this evening. Short break, and then Graham Hunter joins myself and Kenny to preview Liverpool-Barcelona.
Off the ball on News Talk. News Talk Breakfast